Hi everyone, my name is Kwan and I'm using OBS Studio to record this session. So in this video we're going to talk about Linux OS, and first we're going to talk about a history of Linux, advantages and disadvantages, and what's VMware and how to install VMware. There's some misconception about Linux. Is Linux operating system or not? Is Linux OS just black screen with lines? Is Linux just for the professional programmers only? Does Linux have a compatibility problem? Is open source better and more secure than commercial OS such as Windows or Mac iOS? So first, let's talk about history of Linux. History of Linux. The Linux is freely distributed version of Unix, originally developed by Linus Torvalds, who began working on Linux in 1991 as a student at University of Helsinki in Finland. Today, Linux is a complete copy and clone version of Unix, which capable of running X Windows, TCP/IP, UCP, mail, and almost all free software packages on market right now. It is most popular operating system worldwide, and originally was developed as multitasking system for mini computers and mainframes in mid 1970s. There's some advantages of Linux OS. It's open source. Open source meaning it comes with the source code, and you can modify that source code however you want and redistribute it. So that's the beauty of Linux OS. It is more secure than a Windows platform, Windows operating system. It can revive older computer, uh, meaning that you can use Linux OS in older computers because it uses less resources and requirement is less for Linux OS than Windows platform. It's perfect for the programming because it supports almost all major programming languages. Customization, you can customize however you want with Linux. So you can change wallpapers to however you want with Linux. Variety of distribution. Distribution is like a shell, like it's called distro, but each company makes its own little changes. And the most popular ones are Ubuntu and Linux Mint. The most famous and great thing about Linux OS is it's free to use. Because it's free to use and the source code is available for modify, it has better community support than Windows or Mac combined. The disadvantage of Linux OS is the many Windows program will not run in Linux. Uh, Linux is not a commercially successful operating system, so there are less smaller selection of peripheral hardware drivers for Linux, and the Linux uses command line. So learning curve for the people who are new to Linux is pretty high, unlike Windows or Mac, which most popular and commercially successful. So to run Linux, you don't have to get a new computer and install Linux OS. You can simply download a thing called VMware Workstation. What VMware Workstation will do is it will create a virtual environment within your operating computer so that you can install Linux and run it. So example is right here. So I'm running on my Windows. Within my Windows, I'm creating a virtual environment for my Linux to run, so you can run it. Here's some command line. This is how you operate Linux. So you have to know the command line and for you to use Linux operating system. Um, Lastly, um, the Linux um, and the misconceptions about Linux. Let's talk about them. Is Linux operating system? Yes, it is. Is Linux black screen with lines? Well, it used the terminal, command line terminal. So if you're talking about this particular window within window, then yes. But it's not all about black screens and lines. Is Linux for professional programmers only? No, it's for everyone because you can use Linux and get a faster response time than normal Windows OS. And does Linux have compatibility failure? Yes, it does because it does not support some of the Windows programs. Is open source better and more secure than commercial OS? I say yes, it's definitely. And that concludes my video. And thank you for watching. And have a wonderful day, guys.